We're looking at a pretty surprising and honestly kind of scary parallel between a bizarre piece of history and the modern beauty routines so many of us do literally every single day. It's the perfect example of how history doesn't just repeat itself, it gets a whole new modern makeover. Right off the bat, the sources pose this incredible, seemingly out there question. Could your hair be giving you Mad Hatter energy? Now, we aren't talking about sipping tea at some wacky oversized table. We're talking about whether the wigs, the braids, and the extensions we wear today are secretly giving off what the source material literally calls Mad Hatter vibes. I know, it sounds like a massive exaggeration, but as we unpack the history and the science here, you'll see it's actually incredibly accurate. And yeah, pretty concerning. So Section 1, the Mad Hatter Mystery, a 19th century occupational hazard. Let's get into it. To really get this, we've got to look at the history behind that famous, unpredictable character from Alice in Wonderland. The Mad Hatter wasn't just pulled out of thin air, He was actually based on a very real, tragic reality from back in the 1800s. See, hat makers back then used a highly toxic process involving liquid mercury to treat the felt in top hats. They called it carroting. Because these workers were constantly exposed to this heavy metal in super poorly ventilated rooms, the mercury just accumulated in their bodies and essentially poisoned their nervous systems. These guys developed intense physical and mental symptoms. We're talking severe shakiness, extreme confusion, paranoia, just wild mood swings. And because the public saw them acting so erratically, it birthed the phrase mad as a hatter, literally poisoned by the very accessories they were making. Moving right along to Section 2. The modern hair equivalent. Repeating history with a new accessory. Okay, so obviously we aren't using mercury to make felt top hats anymore, but the core issue, hidden toxicity in the things we wear on our heads, that is very much alive today. Back in the 19th century, it was hats laced with hidden chemicals. Today, it's synthetic hair. People are walking around right now wearing everyday accessories, wigs, braids, extensions that are packed with hidden dangers they know absolutely nothing about. It's a totally different era, but it's the exact same pattern of silent everyday exposure. Which brings us to Section 3. What's hiding in the hair? The scientific breakdown. So we know it's not mercury this time around, right? But what exactly is lurking in these products? Well, the numbers are honestly staggering. Researchers have found over 900 different chemicals hiding inside synthetic hair. Just think about that for a second. 900. We aren't talking about a couple of harmless dyes or some basic preservatives here. That is an enormous cocktail of chemical compounds woven directly into the strands that sit right up against your skin. And when you break down that massive number, you realize we're dealing with some serious offenders. The source material highlights things like lead, which is highly toxic and absolutely not something you ever want near your body.